What's up, guys? So, I'm going to try to be brief as possible. I've been gathering like a lot of info about just Nephilim bloodlines, antediluvian and post-diluvian, so before the flood and after the flood. And first, I want to go into you guys know, like, I don't really do religion, but I listen to all people, okay? And there's a lot of information that you can learn from anyone. Now, whether or not you go along with L.A. Marzulli, a lot of people think he's, government mouthpiece, but that's what I like to call them anyway. There's a woman, her name is Kain Wilkerson, and she wrote a book called Stolen Seed, Evil Harvest. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that first. So she was being abducted from the time she was 3 years old. And she didn't know how to tell, like, her parents. She was completely traumatized. No one would really listen to her. And, it's hard to articulate these kinds of things when you're 3. So she was being abducted, and she, all the way up until she was able to conceive babies. So what was happening was she, at different times was shown these babies that were hers. Now, keep in mind, she was married. So she got married, and they weren't planning on getting pregnant right away, but then suddenly she was pregnant. So it was like kind of a surprise. And she was, I guess, I don't know, 3 or 4 months along. And then suddenly she wasn't pregnant anymore. And this kept happening. It happened like 3 times. So she would go to the hospital. They would, her hormones would show pregnancy, right? Because they don't drop right away. But then when they would go to do an ultrasound, the baby would be gone. So she knew that they were somehow the same entities that were kidnapping her, were also taking these fetuses. So she did eventually have her own, I believe, 3 children, and then adopted a bunch of children as well. I'm not sure, like, whatever, but she was one of the times taken, I believe, after they took maybe the first baby. I'm not sure now. I am going to read the book. I haven't had a chance to, but I did hear her speak, and I did hear also L.A. Marzulli speak of her. So anyway, she was taken one of the times again, and she was told to hold her baby. And we hear the story a lot, okay, especially in, the New Age community. Let's face it. I mean, back in even 2015 or before then, these people that knew that they had babies, that they were kidnapped, they were taken, and that they gave birth to these alien babies that were taken. The narrative was, oh, well, they've lost the ability to reproduce, so they need us to help repopulate and they said it was like alien grace. So, okay, so here we go. So let me tell you my opinion. And also this girl, Karen, this woman, Karen, she said that the narrative that was being pushed, basically that we were helping, was bullshit. Okay. Now, part of it is true because they do have fertility issues. They always have had fertility issues. They've had fertility issues since the days of, after the flood, when the Watchers, I want to say, raped the women of Earth. They created the Nephilim, I believe, once, maybe even back then too, but I believe more after the flood. They had, and still do, have fertility issues. I mean, if you ever listen to Cliff High, he talks about it. He believes it was all done via, like, Petri dish. I don't believe that, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay? There's an energy that they take in rape. A lot of the times they would appear as the woman's husband and then show their true form, whatever. These things, they're dragons. That's what the Watchers were. They were dragon entities. Seraphim angels were dragons. They can take any form they want. So they took the form of a human man. And then vice versa, because I do believe that female Seraphim were also creating, because 100% that was being done. There are female goddesses, so-called goddesses, I don't call them goddesses, but that, or were considered goddesses, that created with human males as well, that created Nephilim. So anyway, that narrative that was being pushed for years, Bridget Nielsen was pushing that narrative, and then all of a sudden she stopped, which really made me scratch my head. That, she was creating these babies and helped in creating these babies because, they lost the ability to reproduce. Again, that part's true, but what they're creating is not good. Not by a long shot. So, what happened was, what this woman found out, and what also Ellie Marzulli spoke about as well, was that it was the answer to what the cattle mutilations were. So they were stealing the eggs of these women, or, and they were using the cow tissue and cattle blood to make artificial wombs for these babies. And she says that's what they were doing, and I believe it. So the other thing that she said was that, they've been perfecting this for a while. So they're on their however many attempts at creating Nephilim that look like us. Not giants, not demonic looking things, but they look like us. You'd never know the difference. I do believe that the black-eyed children were probably one of the attempts, which you do feel, people would feel like awful evil coming from them, and then obviously the eyes are all black. So, but other than that, they look just like human children, and I think that there's probably going to be people out there that will be able to spot them, even if they look just like you and I, but it's probably going to be very few and far between. So sharpen those discernment skills, because these people are building an army. I shouldn't call them people. These things, they're a different species than us. They're an evil, evil species. So, anyway, she said that they were not only building this army, but they were on their third attempt, and that her children, she was sleeping one night and she was awakened by 3 children standing by her bedside. And I believe she had already had her own children at this point. So her first thing was, what's up? Like, she's thinking it's her kids. Like, what's the matter? And then I guess when her eyes adjusted, she realized that yes, these were her kids, but they weren't her kids from that experience. And so she wanted to, oh my God, like they're here, they're finally here. I get to see them, I get to interact with them. And it was like sort of this like pouring out of herself, of the love for them, but all she got back was pure paralyzing evil, like straight evil. And then they were saying, you have to come with us. And she's like, absolutely not. I'm not coming with you. So I guess you have to give your consent to some degree. She's like, absolutely not, absolutely not. And they kept, yeah, you have to come with us. And then finally she's like, she was so paralyzed with fear and evil that she does what a lot of people do, and she's also a Christian, is she started calling out to Jesus, and they were gone, like immediately. And I don't do religion, but there's certainly power in that. And people who aren't even religious and don't even follow the like Jesus net or whatever know that it works. It does. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole that I'll probably get into if I ever have time. It took me forever just to do this little video. I have nothing written down. It's all in here. So I do appreciate anybody that's watching this. But, I don't want to push fear. I don't want to, I don't follow the whole, oh, we're kind of like doomed, there's no happy ending, which was what L.A. Marzulli was saying. But I just want you guys to be aware of what these things are. So let's put that aside. Now, the other thing that they do, it wasn't only like this woman that was actually being physically taken. Like she said, like they would literally change dimensions and she would float through her window and she would see like all the little holes in her screen. She remembers that like as a child. And but there were other women more recently, and this is a whole nother person that spoke of this, having nothing to do with her, nothing to do with the storyline. You guys really should. I'll post a link in the description to the interview that Tony Merkel did with L.A. Marzulli, and also the interview that Tony Merkel did with Kain Wilkerson. And so anyway, on a whole entirely different channel called What Lurks Beneath. Awesome little channel. It's like basically a cryptid channel for the most part, but he does everything. It's a paranormal channel. He had a demonologist on, and this guy had a lot of stories to tell. So he was working with women who said that they were, some of the times they weren't married, but it might have been like a boyfriend that they were either with presently, or a boyfriend that like they were intimate with, that they were broken up with, whatever. But suddenly, like, this boyfriend would be like in their bedroom, and or their husband, it could have been. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the entity would ask, do you believe I'm your husband? And the entity would be in the form of their husband or boyfriend, and they would say yeah. And so that was like kind of like the first mistake, right? So apparently they would then become intimate, and then this entity would show its true form. And then a lot of the times the woman would become pregnant, and then somehow the same thing, like the fetuses would just vanish. But one of the times, this is insane. You guys should definitely watch the video. I'll definitely post it in the description. The guy did, like, or someone else did, and he told the story, did an exorcism of one of the women, and when they exorcised the demon, which I believe are spirits of the Nephilim, probably from the flood, banished to the fourth dimension, whatever, the fetus and the entity would disappear at the same exact time. So I found that really interesting. Like when they did the exorcism on these women, they would no longer be pregnant, but they would also no longer be possessed. So complete craziness. But I'll let you watch the video. The other thing is, and again, I believe you can learn from anyone. I started reading Gary Wayne's book, and he does every single, like, Nephilim bloodline, like from the beginning. And he talks about basically, the line of Cain. Everyone says, like, the Cain's sons, his first son was Enoch, who was not the other Enoch. There was two Enochs. And then his son Canaan, who was pure evil. And that's where the word Canaanites comes from. And these are the people that were taught from the seraphim angels, the sciences, the arts, the art of war. They were taught armory, how to make metals, and again, the art of war. And they completely corrupted humans, completely corrupted them in every way. And magic, they taught the women, like, magic, of course the men too, but they taught them vanity and how to wear makeup, and and then, so, like, some of these things, some of this knowledge was like benign, but I believe that humans were here for a really long time, hundreds of thousands of years before these things even, came and rewrote history and wrote a fake narrative and kind of took us over. So we aren't being invaded now. We were invaded a really long time ago. And those same very watered down versions, invaders, were what we see today in the world. The elites, whatever you want to call them, they're the same exact bloodlines. And they think, they are a different species than us. Do not ever think for a second that they're not. But that doesn't make them better, or and they have a deep hatred for us. Now, here's the part where, like I said, I don't believe everything everyone says, including Cliff High, but I do believe that what he said, combined with what I learned from Mauro Bellino and Paul Wallace, also probably mouthpieces, that they made a pact with Yahweh. Okay, Moses, maybe even before then. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but I believe that Yahweh came in probably around the time of Moses, and I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm okay. You can correct me if I got my timeline wrong, but their DNA was tinkered with, the Jews, and the pact that was made with them, the covenant that was made with Yahweh, was, you cut the skin off your kids' dicks, and I won't eat your kids. I'll eat theirs. Understand, Yahweh was a dragon. I don't think that Yahweh and Yaldabaoth are the same entity, by the way, any longer. I think Yaldabaoth was more like the creator of this realm, but they were definitely, possibly one of the Enlil Enki brothers, it seems, but there's not one good one and one bad one. Fuck no. Both of those motherfuckers were evil. Okay? I tried not to curse. I almost made it, but I did not. Both of them. One may have been a little nicer, maybe, but no, sorry. And I just think that we need to really sharpen our discernment skills and understand that this place is not what you think it is. And when it's our time, and I don't mean when the world's ending, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to even go there. I mean, when it's our time to go, I don't think we have to be recycled back here. They need our consent, number one. And I think that there's a way to avoid them maybe altogether, and that's like, don't go to that white light. Okay? Because the creator of this realm, the fake shit that they project to us, that's not even real, it's a simulation for sure. And I do believe it's a copy of the original true realm. And we don't need to keep getting sucked back to reincarnate here so that they can steal our loosh and power up the system, because we don't. And we need to go where we want to go. And you need to start letting go of your attachments now. Very, very hard when you have children. But they will use that against you when it comes time to get out of here. And so if you really truly love your loved ones, you'll want them to get out too, and you won't be attached to them in that way. Do you understand? If you don't, and you want to keep coming back here because you think you have some mission, it's bullshit. Okay? But that's fine. If you just want to come back here for whatever the reason is, I don't fault anyone for that, Some people have had a decent life, and so they're like, because they don't remember the horrible ones because they mind wipe your ass before you come back here. So if you remembered that shit, you'd never come to this place. Got it? But go right ahead. Want to come back here? Go ahead. Again, I whatever. I totally get it. I really, really do. And I have no ill will, but if this resonates with you, and I will do more videos about the soul trap, but I just don't understand why people are getting caught up in, the benevolent aliens are coming to save us, and I don't think that there's any good ones here. I mean, I know they talked about like good Nephilim and good aliens, and I just think that the evil ones would probably keep the good people out as best they can. I have heard instances where they've made it in, and people that I trust where they're actually, but it's very, very few and far between. And angels, do not talk to them. They are demons. And I know, like, I'm a little hardcore, but I can tell you right now that not for 1 second, and maybe it could be I err on the side of caution because I learned hard lessons, but I think they all are not like us. Let's just say that. They're not capable of what we're capable of. Love. They're just not capable. And they're just the enforcers of the Elohim. Like they are the Elohim. They're the enforcers of a satanic realm. They're the enforcers of this realm. And it's not really, I'm not saying there's not love and beauty and wonderful things here. I'm not saying that. Because the other thing is there kind of has to be, because I believe that they do have to follow universal law. I believe that they do have to follow natural law, and I do believe in natural law, which is why they trick us into giving our consent and tacit agreement. They trick us. If you know how to navigate and watch for the little things that are being said when you have these encounters, you don't have to give your consent. And they need it. They absolutely need it. Something as simple as putting a welcome mat on your step, on your front door, invites them in. Do not do that. You can get a welcome mat, just a mat that says something else, whatever it is, but don't ever put welcome or anything of that nature. You're just inviting in. And because they like to tiptoe around that stuff any chance that they get, so stop giving them that power. Before I go to bed, I have a ritual. You should have your own. Because when you are sleeping, you are vulnerable. And I don't want to scare anyone, but there's things that you can say and do, whatever works for you, before you go to bed, to keep those things away from you. Or basically to keep yourself from being napped in the astral. Because they can do whatever they want to you in the astral. Because you're very, very vulnerable. And then they will mind wipe you and send you back. Send you right back into your body, into your bed, and then you wake up feeling like shit, and you don't know why. You can't even remember if you had a dream or not. So make no mistake, this is done all the time. How do you think they power the system up? Loosh. What's loosh? If you don't know, you better find out. But they are going to do anything that they can to get it from you. And I'm going to tell you something else. Positive emotions produce loosh as well. Produces loosh as well. They just don't like the positive. It's just like a narcissist. If you've ever been with a true malignant, borderline / narcissist. I shouldn't say borderline, because borderlines actually are capable of healing and love, but I'm talking about a true malignant narcissist that can never be healed. They're just psychopaths. They're just built that way. They will suck the positive emotions from you, and it will give them energy and loosh. But they like the negative emotions so much better, which is why after they love bomb you, they're going to hit you with the negative stuff so that they can get the negative emotions out of you, which again they like much better. So what else did I want to talk about? Okay, so I just wanted to touch on this very quickly because I did do a video, a very short one, about celebrating Cabal holidays. Every single holiday that we celebrate, and in fact our whole entire culture, is built around black magic and black magic holidays, Nephilim magic, which then became the Druids, the Phoenicians, the Canaanites, the Khazarian practices. However, that being said, you're neurologically programmed, right? Neuralistically programmed from a child. Let's just say we're going to use Christmas because that's a big one. To experience joy at Christmas time. Whether or not you listen to the demonic side of Christmas, because it's pretty bad, okay? The Mind Unveiled does an excellent long-ass one about the history of Christmas and Santa Claus and what it really is and the shit that they do, the other species that are not us, around the holidays. So you basically will still experience that like pure joy if you don't allow yourself to get stressed, because holidays can be stressful around Christmas, right? Because that's how you were raised to be. But so then if you try to go, oh my God, I can't celebrate anymore, it's a mind fuck. Why do that to yourself? Why? Because this is what I mean when I say we can make them our own. That's your memory. You're not practicing black magic. You're not sacrificing anyone during Christmas. You just want to love your family and buy them presents. And again, don't get caught up in the commercial side of it. Just experience that. And this is what I did instead of being mind fucked. Especially this last year. I was just totally, I'm not going to stress. I tried to do certain things early, not to be stressed, and I just want to be with my family, and I just want to, experience the experience of gift giving and what I made, how I created in my own bubble that holiday and what it means to me. Lots of cooking, lots of making cookies for people, and just being with my grandkids and all. And they're not going to take that joy from me, because I really believe that that's what they want us to experience, the mind fuck of it all, right? So then we could be more fear and stress and, oh, what do I do? It's the holidays. Like, just fucking do whatever you want to do, okay? Be with your family, enjoy Christmas, and whatever it is that brings you joy. If you want to do it on another day, do it on another day. I had my son and his wife and kids over on a totally different day, and then I still, with the rest of my family, my younger kids and my, I went and was with my other extended family, and it was great, and I didn't allow them to take that joy from me. And that's just, yes, and I decorated every inch of this joint. This is my basement. Even this was decorated. Every inch of this house was decorated. I am not kidding you. I even bought like Christmas quilts and every inch of it. Okay, so there's nobody, and I don't care who you are, that's going to tell me that I'm not going to celebrate the joy of what I believe, whatever you want to call the holiday, Christmas, and I'm fully aware of what it is and its history. Fully aware. I know all about Saturnalia. I know what they did. I know everything. Okay? So it's not because I'm ignorant. It's because I am not going to let them take that joy from me. So there you go. Sorry for that long-winded ass explanation. Cannot remember the name of the channel, but the woman's name is Anne Marie, and she also has a really good rant about it. And and she's one of those people who I really respect. And she's a soul trap person, and she knows her shit. Okay? So when I listen to her, I heard her talk about it, I was like, hell yes, that's exactly what I said. And the reason I brought this up is because when I had a family member here saying, like, isn't it like a drag being you? Because there's nothing in this world that you don't see. I tried not to curse, but that you don't see fuckery in. Like, their fuckery. Everywhere you go, you see their nonsense. Black magic, symbolism, numbers, like dates, the celebrities, the disclosure on TV, and how they put everything that they do in television programs, and like, it's just constant, it's endless. And now they're doing the whole apocalypse crap, and so yeah, it's, you're going to take the red pill or the blue pill. Once you take the red pill, right, you can never come back. I would never want to go back, and that's my answer. But I don't think we should live in fear. I think we should experience joy every day, not just on Christmas. So that's how I feel about that. Experience your joy. Find it every single day. And do not give them Do not give them fear. We can't die anyway. You're an eternal being. You cannot die. And you just need to live your life and find joy in little things. Remember what your old self was like, and minus the ignorance, right? Minus all the beliefs, right? If you take away all the beliefs that were false, if you take away every single false thing that you were taught, that you believed, and what were you, just you? What are your likes, dislikes? What do you like to do? What brings you joy? And that's what you need to get back. And so that's the part that I think I lost. And mainly, more recently, because I was really disappointed, I'm going to use that word, to learn that a lot of stuff, even that I learned in the so-called truther movement, was the biggest lie of all. The things that were being spewed in the New Age, and all that love and light and unicorn crap, and not, and I was being told that I was too, I question too much, or you're negative if you defend yourself. Like, no, I'm me. I'm gonna defend myself, and I'm gonna say how I feel, and I'm never ever going to be anybody else, right? And so my friend Elliot used to say, everybody else is taken, just be you, right? And I just will not continue to go down that path of living in fear. And maybe you guys should not either. But do what you want. But just remember, every time we go down the negative road, we're feeding them more loosh to power the system. Anyway, I said enough. But something to think about this Nephilim army that they're building. And just be aware, and don't give your consent. Okay? Peace.